Breed number 5 says all of North Africa was black, but became mixed. Speed was dealing with mixed people coping. So this comes with originally 1, but I added another little prompt to it. This comes with 2 prompts. You guys can see my screen. We'll watch this first video and then I'll play the second attachment.
For many centuries, North Africa shared the same predominantly black African demographic as the rest of the continent. In this video, we explore the transformation of this region into its present-day ethnic composition, which includes a significant Arab and Berber population. The common perception that North Africa is white is a simplification that overlooks the region's diverse ethnic history and the substantial black African influence on the civilizations of Egypt and the Maghreb. While it's true that parts of North Africa, such as Libya and southern regions of Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco, retain a strong indigenous African presence, the broader notion of North African whiteness is a more recent development in the area's long history. The black African roots of Egyptian civilization are well established and widely recognized. Even during the era of Egypt's decline and subsequent conquest by the Greeks, philosophers like Aristotle described the Egyptians as exceedingly black. An examination of the palette of Narmer, the first pharaoh of unified Egypt who was black, shows how he apparently sacrificed white foreigners in 3300 BC. The demographic landscape of Egypt underwent significant changes over the centuries, with a notable increase in the white population starting around 1300 BC. This shift began during the reign of Pharaoh Meremptah, when white individuals, primarily in the roles of prisoners of war or servants, started to have a more permanent presence in Egypt. Egypt later experienced a series of invasions by various external powers, including the Assyrians, Persians, from what is now Iran, Greeks, and Romans. These invasions had a profound impact on the indigenous black population, many of whom were forced to migrate to other parts of Africa. Those who stayed in Egypt gradually integrated with the incoming populations, leading to a mixed ethnic group known as the Copts. We have covered the ancestry of Egyptians Copts in a separate video. See the video description. The Arab conquest of Egypt in 639 AD, followed by 3 centuries of Ottoman, Turkish rule, further diversified the ethnic makeup of the country. These historical events collectively contributed to the whitewashing of Egypt, transforming its demographic profile from a predominantly black African population to a more ethnically diverse one that includes significant Arab and Turkish influences. Around 1300 BC, during the reign of Pharaoh Seti, historical records first visually described white populations in Libya known as the Tamahu. The exact duration of their presence in the region before this time, and whether they had any connection to the whites depicted in the Narmer palette, remains unclear. When the Romans conquered the Maghreb region after defeating the Carthaginian leader Hannibal, they encountered a significant black population in areas now known as Tunisia, Algeria, and Morocco. The Romans referred to these people as Moors in the region. In both Greek, Mor or Mores translates to black, leading to the interpretation of Mauritania as land of the blacks. Even the name Morocco is thought to have its roots in the term Moor. Over time, the meaning of Moor has shifted, now often associated with a white demographic, but this change reflects the evolving ethnic composition of the region, rather than the original meaning of the term. European historical records strongly suggest that black populations have always been a part of the Maghreb's demographic makeup. In Libya, known to the Romans as Barbari, due to the raiding activities of its nomadic people, both Greek and Roman accounts describe inhabitants with scarified and painted faces, braided hair, and totemic practices, pointing to a distinctly black culture. These societies were noted for their matriarchal structure, a common characteristic in many black communities. Additionally, historical documents from the era mention a small Ethiopian nation extending from Tripoli to Tunis. The term Ethiopian comes from the Greek Ethiopus, meaning burnt faces, a reference originally applied to the black people of Sudan. This further supports the presence of black populations in Libya during these ancient times. When the Arabs expanded into the regions of Barbary and Mauritania, they began referring to all the peoples of the Maghreb, a term derived from the earlier word Bari, and initially encompassing a diverse population without regard to color. Historically, the term Berber was associated with predominantly black peoples. These indigenous groups formed the majority of the forces that entered Spain in 711, marking the beginning of the Muslim being for 781 years. A vivid description of these troops, so the of Spain described the Moorish soldiers as having black faces like pitch, with even the most handsome among them being as black as a saucepan. The French epic Chanson de Roland, which recounts the 8th century battles between the Franks and Africans in northern Spain, similarly describes the invaders as being black, with wide noses and large ears, likening their skin color to melted pitch. Thus, it is from European sources that we gain insight into the appearance of the early inhabitants of the Maghreb. Estimates suggest that by the end of the Muslim period in Spain and Portugal, there were about 3.5 million black individuals, whose modern descendants bear surnames like Moreau, Maurice, Moran, Moreno, Moore, Murray, etc. The transformation of the Maghreb from a predominantly black region to a more ethnically diverse one with a significant white population is partly attributed to Arab influence. However, a critical factor was the slave trade of Europeans, particularly Germans and Slavs, by Muslims, which began as early as the 8th century. The Encyclopedia of Ukraine notes that between the 15th and 18th centuries, 2 to 2.5 million people were deported from regions like Ukraine, Belarus, and Moscow. White men were often castrated and deported. These enslaved whites, especially women, were distributed throughout the Muslim world, including the Maghreb, likely in greater numbers than blacks, contributed to the lighter skin tones seen in modern Berber populations. The Ottoman influence also played a part in this demographic shift. The presence of Negro African, European, and Semitic Arabic elements in Berber languages today reflects this complex historical intermixing. While these conclusions might not be universally accepted, especially among the Berbers themselves, they offer an explanation for the evolving ethnic landscape of the Maghreb. Initially a predominantly black region, the Maghreb's demographic shift to include a significant white population resulted from interactions with the first whites of Libya, the Arabs, the Turks, and the impact of the white slave trade.
Yeah, good stuff. I also saw this post by Typical African, who tweets here, he finally said of North Africa. He finally said nothing but the truth about the real inhabitants of North Africa. Let's take this, just give this 40-second video a look.
This is real Berber. The people of North Africa today, they are not the historical Berbers. Aryan people speaking an Aryan language called Farsi. Just like the same Aryan people who speak Hindi in northern India are not the ancient dark-skinned Vedic people who speak Sanskrit. Donald Trump is not a Native American. Similarly, people of North Africa and Middle East today, like Bassem Youssef, are not the ancient Egyptians, not the ancient Arabic or dark-skinned Berber people. This is real Berber. The people of North Africa today, they are not the historical Berbers. Similarly, as Iranian people today are not the ancient Persian people. They are Aryan people speaking an Aryan language called Farsi. Just like the same Aryan people who speak Hindi in northern India are not the ancient dark-skinned Vedic people who speak Sanskrit. Donald Trump is not a Native American. Similarly, people of North Africa and Middle East today, like Bassem Youssef, are not the ancient Egyptians, not the ancient Arabic or dark-skinned Berber people. This is
It's funny how and men do this a lot. Men do this a whole lot. We talk around the things that kind of hurt us, right? We'll talk about it, but we won't address it directly. I find it interesting when folks talk about these aren't the original people, which is true. What happened to the original people? A lot of times they stop short of actually telling you what happened to the original people. A lot of those people were killed. But I guess the hurt of it is so heavy, we just kind of speak about it and let you infer the rest. You know? It's interesting, man. I want to mix it up. I'm going to go with Black Steel first on this one. Black Steel, what say you?
A lot of information here, a lot of information. That little comment you made about what happened to the original people kind of struck with me because I was reading something today about Namibia and how Namibia has some of the lowest populations of any country in Africa. But then you come to realize the reason Namibia has such a low population is because the Germans committed a genocide there in the beginning of the 20th century, which is usually unspoken of, the genocide of the Herero people in Namibia. So, which basically kill out half their population. In some places, 80% of the population. So, yeah, I say all that to say, we let these people, as far as the information about North Africa being mostly black, I mean, of course it was. But then the country with the largest Arab population is Egypt, right? Which is Northern Africa, 55 million people. That was all, I don't think they're all Arabic, but I mean, a good percentage of them belong to the Arab people. Um, yeah, it's like we said in the original topic, we just really have to figure out a way to deal with the traitors in our midst. And I think that by becoming more protective of our land and our culture, we can do that. But yeah, I'm not surprised to see this at all. That as far as this mass depopulation of Africa, it's a heavy subject. You don't know where to begin. But I would just say that just this knowledge in and of itself is a good thing because when people, I've met these, Egyptian storekeepers, I'm African too. They like to say that, oh, I'm from Africa, I'm Egypt, right? But I'm like, okay, but are you really? Because you're not black. Are you really an Egyptian? It's like when they have the Afrikaners claiming they're Africans, when you have like the Boers and the Afrikaners, so we're African. No, you're not. So I'll leave it there. Thanks.
Appreciate that, Black Steel. We'll move right down the line. Real Black Gentleman, what say you?
I mean, the thing is, when you talk about, I mean, this whole thing again about North Africa and the whiteness and North, like I said in the chat, I mean, when I'm talking about Egypt, Egypt is a different animal than Libya and Tunisia and Algeria and Morocco and it's a different animal. It just is. The black people who got caught up in in those countries, again, the Sahara is a beast. You can't really cross it. If you're there, you got to be tactful and cagey. With being black, as a man, they kill you, chop off your balls. That's like I'm saying, like it's not fair to talk about how these people. I see what it's trying to get at. It's just a different dynamic of trying to be where you are and being able to escape. You can't escape into the desert unless you have transportation. Not to say that there aren't cars and all on roads, roads get clogged, with sand. It's different. I think, the idea that, black people can't you can do it. You just have to show up and just, part of it is just a acclimation to it. It's like kind of get used to black people being around. And when we do go, it's kind of like on it's just like sending in scouts and sending in, recon and businesses, you can go in there strong and, and defend your interests and just demonstrate that you'll be able to defend your interests. I mean, that's all it's all about. Go to a place, go see, conquer whatever it is that you're trying to do there, then leave. And you don't have to be there and just, it will defeat the purpose of you even going in the first place. Part of it is just like with I Show Speed. I mean, again, going back to the beginning, I Show Speed, right? He went up there, but at least he tried. I know he got an audience, and it's just like I wish you would comes into play. It does come into play when you got a billion eyeballs on you. I wish you would. You got to give the young man heart. He did come with that I wish you would pack. Yeah, you going up there and they're going to talk his shit. Look, like I said, you know what I'm saying? It's a mixed bag. It's not going to be just sending an army with swords. It doesn't work like that. This is 2025. You're going to have a comprehensive, integrated whole engagement scheme. It's not going. You're going to have the right hand won't know what the left hand's doing. It's going to be so complex. I mean, look, I believe African people can do it. Dealing with mixed people. I mean, so they're mixed. I mean, they're Arabs. I get it. You know what I'm saying? It's not even that deep though. It's just like, look, black people can go. It's, you know what I'm saying? If black people, you know, in Nigeria, just for what it's worth, if Nigeria can get itself straight and get its head out of the book and get its head into some trade skills, you know, 250 million people, you can build roads from here to Johannesburg. Are you shitting me? You can't just like, all right, you know how to do this. Each one teach one comes into play. At this point, each one teach 10. And you can't do that for, you know what I'm saying, how many times a year for so many, you know what I'm saying? You can't, we you know what I'm saying? A lot of things don't cost money. Learning really doesn't cost money. It does cost, you know what I'm saying, like, you know, the kind of tools, you know what I'm saying? You just have to have a sense of knowing how to learn something and then profit off of it at a sustainable rate. That isn't like gouging and, you know what I'm saying, turning off customers and shit. It's not that hard, but I mean, a lot of that has to do with, you know, scaling. I mean, Africa does not have to be in this Nigeria and this Cameroon and these countries like this. In my heart, I believe that shit. That's the problem. I can't be like, oh, the Congo's doing this, and you know what I'm saying, the Ivory Coast is doing this, Senegal is doing. I don't want to see Africa like that because I know better. That's the worst part about it. I mean, it's just like hard, like power sharing and power adjustment. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? If it's for the greater good, and you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, you get got. You know what I'm saying? In terms of like, you know what I'm saying, we thought it was going. I mean, a lot of times power comes from like small groups of people being able to overwhelm and beguile smaller entities, a lot of times one by one. You just take off a big thing and just take it off into bigger chunks. Sun Tzu doesn't really apply. I get that. You know, Sun Tzu says, well, you can be so 10 to 1 if, you know what I'm saying, if you're cutting enough. They don't know what hit them. That's all you do with the Arabs. You know, this whole like, oh, well, if black people fucking Arab, they'll become mixed. And if black people stay on their business and be there, it'll be more black people there. If black, you know, black men make things secure, then the black woman will come, and the offspring. You know, it's like, it's simple genetics. All this bullshit purity about well, there'll be this they might be in contact with a person who would be considered to be African. That you know what I'm saying, trying to contrast categories, that ain't gonna play. It's just going to be a naturally blackening, just like Kimji was saying. That's all. I'm done.
Appreciate that, real black gentleman. In the chat, the matron says, some historians say that black people want to marry out. My anecdotal observation is that they exchange women and slaves to keep the peace. The thought was that they would integrate, not dominate. Trigger Happy says, now Libya, you could argue that Italy has a lot to do why it's small in population and the lack of black people. He says to RBG, most Saharan inhabitants are black, though. The matron goes on to say, then we have to deal with the invaders that came in, unalived the men, and impregnated the women that were left. We thought we were dealing with humans, not cave beasts. Trigger says to the matron, that might apply more to Egypt, but depending on the time period, it may apply less to the Maghreb. He goes on to say, maybe Vandals and Byzantines within the Kabyle region can be a case study, but there were black people in that region as late as the 1800s. He says, also forgot to mention, when they kicked out the Moors, lots of white Muslims came to North Africa too. Going down the line again, Kofi, the black critic, what say you to this topic?
Can you repeat the question again or the prompt? I wanted to be very surgical with my response.
says all of North Africa was black but became mixed. Speed was dealing with mixed people coping, and then the videos talked about how there was this Arabization of these
Okay.
North African regions.
Okay. Yeah, I totally agree with the video there. I mean, to me, you could tell these people are similar. They know that these are his people because he was getting mistreated in North Africa. I think when he went to Europe, they were throwing bananas at him. So they white people and Arabs, they're cousins. That's how you get an Arab. What I'm saying, there are a lot of white mix, and and that's just what you get. So they have the same sensibilities, even though they have a different culture, different religion. Now, I always, in my studies, always saw that the Berbers were mixed. They were whites. They were, they're like the mulatto of North Africa and the so-called Middle East. That's what they were. So when people say the original Berbers were black, I'm like, linguistically, that doesn't sound like a traditional African group. So when they say they're originally black, I don't get that. Unless they're trying to say the original people mixed in with the invading forces that was there, then yes, I totally get that. What I'm saying, around the Maghreb and Morocco and that area in the Levant region, I get that. But yeah, I have nothing really to say when it comes to this particular prompt. It's what he said. Everything is absolutely 100, and it's pretty much my stance is pretty much what it was in the last prompt. Like, we have to understand the makeup of these people. Hey, I would say use Islam against them if you can. You know what I'm saying? So use Islam if there any animosity. Like, hey, brother, remember, I know I'm Habib. But wasn't Muhammad's first convert named Bilal, and Bilal was a slave, right? So please, brother, don't treat me like that, brother. You know what I'm saying? Try to use their religion against them. You know what I'm saying? Because they like to say, like the white man, oh, we're Christian, and da, 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 da. But they never follow the practices of Christianity. So same thing with Islam. We should use that against them. And we have to also realize, I'm gonna talk a little bit soft, because my sons, we have to understand, my sons, you have people in this generation and last generation that they may or may not know what's happening. It's like, hey man, fine, I'm Arab. I'm from Kenya. I'm from Lebanon. I'm from Morocco. Whatever. I don't really care about that stuff. I'm 19. I'm 30. I don't care, right? But then we have to have people like my son. They have friends that are Muslim. I don't know what country they're from, but parents are cool. Kids are wonderful. We have to understand, in reality, when you're teaching your kids, that is fine. As individuals, those people are fine. But those people as a collective are dangerous. This is how we have to look at these people, because it's fine. I don't know what people's relationship that they have with people in the world, because we're here on YouTube, we're talking, right? But in real life, do you have Muslim friends? In real life, do you interact with them? Do you have family that interacts with them? Because we're going back in a continent, definitely you're going to have some black Muslims. Definitely you're going to have even some Africans that aren't Muslim. They're going to have some Muslim friends or people that interact. So how do we deal with that? That's the real question, because now there are a part of our country, they're a part of our society. They're in our family. So how do we go about that? We have to deal with this from a psychological standpoint to get to the people on our side. You know what I'm saying? We can always wage war, but I want to do to them what they did to us. I want to invade the minds of their people, so they could just, all we gotta do is just tip them over. Because how did Arab Islam invaded North Africa and the rest of it? Through trade. through Africans being spiritual, godly people. Hey, I got this new religion called Islam. Really? Yeah. Hey, try it out. Okay, I'll try it out. While we're trading and stuff like that. And then that African person goes to another African person that he's trading with, and he spreads that religion. You know, saying that's the nice way how it went. Other way went with the sword, but that's how it happened. But people who wouldn't convert, they did it with the sword. Either you take this Quran or you off with your head. But we need to have that real talk. How will we have that talk? And I think we need to have that talk with our peers, people on the continent, people that are Muslim, like you would talk to a white supremacist or a white or a black person understand they're engaged in the white supremacy. I think that's how we have to engage it because, again, like the video says, they're mixed. So when you're talking about them, you're not just talking about an abstract concept or someone that's way over there, thousands of miles away. No, you're talking about my cousin. You're talking about my aunt that I love that my cousin Farouk married. Like, I think that's how we have to attack this. So that's pretty much it.
I appreciate that take, Kofi. I really do. Buana, what say you?
I actually I understand Kofi's son when he says that that I don't really care. I think that I understand him when he says that.
Oh, hold on. My son said he didn't care. What I mean to say when you talk to our children, my son does understand. But what I'm saying,
No. I get you.
Okay.
I got you. But I understand his perspective. But what I'm saying is that I feel like the black man has had the ability to clearly define what the problems are. Not only that, he is clearly able to define what his oppression is. Not only globally, this gentleman right here, he is able to go back to history and say how blacks were the black population in the Maghreb was once purely black. He is clearly able to define the problem. We globally can define all our problems in the world. The question becomes, what are we willing to do to solve the problems that we have that's in front of us? So if I ask this gentleman, which organization are you currently a part of to rectify the past issue that created the situation that you currently are under? And if he don't have an answer for me, how could I help you if you aren't willing to help yourself? How could I get in the fight if you aren't willing to get in the fight yourself? We talk about Bob Marley and the brothers on the panel say, well, Bob Marley wasn't political. Do you know that the reason why Bob Marley was the only black man to sing to Zimbabwe's independence? And part of the reason for that is he was providing financial, military support for the revolutionaries in Zimbabwe. He was providing money to them. Fidel Castro saw a problem that existed under Batista in Cuba, and he's running on about the problem initially, but he said, "Let me go solve the problem. Let me go correct the injustices that exist in our society, and I'm willing to do it even if I die." Adolf Hitler do the same thing too. I read Mein Kampf, Adolf Hitler do the same thing too. He say the problem that exists in this state is because this
Juana, I know I'm cutting you off. You said you read Mein Kampf, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, I always wanted to read it, but I'm here in the United States. I don't want to order a Mein Kampf and I get on the FBI watch list. So friend always like, "Do you got it, bro? I ain't ordering that."
It's on Amazon. They sell it on Amazon. So if it's on Amazon, you must can buy it. Needless to say, I read it a long time ago, and he described point for point what the problems was in his society. And then he say, "I'm willing to go and try to solve the problem that exists." And he went to jail for it. As a matter of fact, he was willing to die for it. So I'm asking the black man globally, not just in the Maghreb and North Africa, but everywhere else. Yes, the problem exists. We see it in our faces every day. What are you willing to do to alleviate and correct the problems that you see that exist? Because if you're just talking, we're just talking. And we're going to talk about 2,000 years ago and what happened yesteryear and all these other kinds of things, what are you willing to do to correct the problem that exists? And if you ain't willing to do it, let's stop talking about it. You know what I mean? Let's stop talking about it. Let's stop having discussions over it. Because it ain't serious. It from my point of view. And I say that this is a teachable moment with the young brothers. And I understand them. They live in a different world because everything is fast food. Say, man, daddy, you know, you described me the problem. I can't solve that problem over there. You know, I have some problems that exist right now in front of me, and I have to correct these problems. And the young people are willing to do whatever it takes to resolve their issues, even if it's a minor problem of money. They're willing to go to work, and that's a fight in itself. Get up every morning and go to work. So these people who are talking about the yesteryear issues that once when was and when we used to, I'm asking the question: what are you willing to change the circumstance? If you're not, leave it alone. Leave it alone. That's where I am. That's where I am in this. And I ain't trying to be disrespectful to no one. This is just where I am in my head. You know what I mean? But maybe because where I am in my head right now. But I'll leave it. I'll leave it.
So, I mean, there is a point of let's go over the screen. There is a point of there is that stage of having to discuss a thing before you just run into trying to solve a problem. Maybe they're still at that stage. Like,
maybe Coco, but these problems existed. If you ask this man to tell you, these problems existed for hundreds of years. Hundreds of years. So I mean, how much discussion got hundreds of years? In the western part of the world, we have the same kind of issues where we're dealing with the same problem for hundreds of years. So when you gonna really, some of the brothers them try to initiate and solve themselves, they get together collectively and they did fight, they did struggle, and we continue to struggle. So I'm asking the brother in this video, point me to the brothers who are actively struggling, so I could, if I feel inclined to, let me throw some money in that direction, so I could put some energy behind what you are describing as an injustice with Black people. You can't. I mean, but if you don't do it, see, I used to live in the UK. The UK have a discussion culture. They what's it called? I forget the name of it. The analysis of paralysis, where you talk about something for 100 years and never work it out. But that's a poison pill because you never actually get. This is what they call it. That's why they have parliament, you know, which is a stage to not get anything done, any actual things done on the ground. But Coco, if you was inclined to, if you wanted to get something done tomorrow, you gonna get up and go do it. And full stop, period or whatever. There's time for discussion, absolutely, absolutely. There's time for planning, absolutely. But you're presenting to me 100-year problem. So should it take 100 years before I actually try to solve it? I don't think so. But like I say, that's just me. That's just me.
yeah, so the thing I'm trying to drill down on is then we're in the same, just in general, Pan-Africanists. The first Pan-African Congress was what, 1909? We've been discussing this thing for over 100 years. So should we take that same advice that Buana's putting out right now? I'm asking Buana in particular. Should we?
There are Coco. There are people. You say the Pan African Conference was 100 years ago. From that conference, you saw a Black star in Ghana. Ghana became an independent country in 1950 something. So obviously, Kwame Nkrumah saw the importance of not only creating his own country, but putting it along the lines of Pan-Africanism. There's Julius Nyerere, did it with his countries. A lot of these countries, African countries at the time, fell in line. They operationalized the things that they discussed. They just saying leave it on the table. We continue to do the same things and continue in that tradition right now. I am on a panel with brothers from all over the world right now. And there are going to be listeners from people all over the world. How we use our conversations and what the takeaways are from it, it gonna really talk. It can go to what our own personal characters are. But this is a small little chasm of many other brothers who have the same kind of discussions. You have brothers out there who are completely white nationalists. But with us, we have a different kind of focus and goal. We have a different. So if everyone speaks to their own porch, eventually it can become a bigger thing. You know what I mean? Because if I go to New York City right now, you're gonna take me among brothers who kind of think the same way. If I go to Atlanta, I'm experiencing the same thing with Brother Bakari. So I'm saying that show me what the issues are. Say, Buana, how can I'll ask her, how can I assist in what's going on? Because all of us have a little small problems within our own enclaves with our different kinds of issues. So if we work at our issues collectively in a smaller space, it's going to create a way, just as the brothers them did it in Africa and in other parts. We're going to continue to fight. We're going to continue to fight until the fight is over. But you can't just continue to dialogue and talk forever. Not forever. I mean, let me help you. Tell me how I could help you in what your struggle is. And that's what's not being said in these kinds of videos. You putting something before my face and it's really oh thereism. Because I'm watching and I say, oh there. I'm really sorry that happened to him. But I'm on the point where it's like, I'm asking, how can I assist in whatever the struggle is? I don't even know. You even point me to a group of people where I could, you know what I mean? So I don't know. Maybe I'm just ranting. Maybe I'm just ranting.
I appreciate a good rant from time to time, man. Is there any last thoughts on this part? So then, you know what? Before we leave the panel, let's do our shout outs for this week, man. Let me just go right down the line. Black Steel, what would you like to shout out this week? Maybe Black Steel is muted, or is it me? Let me go to Real Black Gentleman then. Real Black Gentleman, what would you like to shout out this week?
I'm gonna shout out another YouTuber. You know the African Diasporic News Channel. I'm gonna shout them out. I always like.
Are you crazy, brother? You crazy? Phil Scott.
Yeah, I love Phil Scott, man. Phil Scott. I like Phil Scott. I like his perspective, man. I want to give a shout out to him. I was thinking about it. You know what I'm saying? Like I remember, like it was like Phil from the Advice show, man. And this man done cleaned himself up, got himself. This dude done wrote some books. I just had to go ahead and just like pay attention to what he's doing. I think he's doing a lot of good work. I think, you know what I'm saying? I like his content. I like his format. I like the programs. I like the faces. I like the voices. I like what they talk about. I've been stuck on just like content and just like people. I just want to give a shout out to, you know what I'm saying? Just give a shout out to Big Phil. That's my shout out.
That's an interesting shout out this week, man. But appreciate it all the same. Kofi, would you like to shout out this week?
I mean, if we shout out sellouts and coons, I'd like to shout out Tariq Nasheed, Yvette Cornell, Dan Calloway, yeah, all that. You know, if that's what we doing now, like God damn.
Do you think he's actually like how is he a sellout? I'm trying to figure that one out.
He's a D writer for Tariq Nasheed. He does the same, brother. I don't know. I don't know how often. I don't even listen to him often, but just people like Haven Bullets, other people will report what he's saying, and he's on that FBA coon train. Like I don't know what to tell you, man. I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know.
I used to look at him for like a hot minute. I was like, oh, Phil, okay, he's a Pan-African, you know. But then he starts talking greasy about Africans, these Africans, and and we FBA and all this other nonsense. I'm like, oh, okay, unsubscribe. So whatever, man. I wanted to just shout out to iShow Speed and on the Better Medicine podcast, Kogu, for coming here every weekend, doing a very good show, bang up job. And, you know, putting topics out that, you know, really that's intellectually stimulating. So shout out to you and iShow Speed.
Appreciate that, brother Kofi. Which reminds me, too, shout out to the Discord. If you haven't joined the Discord, or if you are on the Discord and you're not really participant, let's be participant. It's a free app.
Yes, Buana.
Yeah, Buana. Let's hop on there. post our Shoot the Breeze topics, post to the general chat, post to the Shoot the Breeze lounge where we could continue some of these Shoot the Breeze conversations. So if you haven't joined already, look for the Discord link down in the description of the episode and join, man. With that said, man, Buano, what would you like to shout out this week?
No, shout out I show Speed. That's a young kid's name. Shout out to him. He's really done a good job in creating another kind of perception of Black people in Africa. So shout out to him. I saw people from different parts of the world crying, saying, "Oh, we never thought Africa." That was hilarious. I'm like, do these people think that? But if you don't know, you don't know. If you don't know, you don't know. So shout out for his efforts. The real RBG got to tell me why you love Phil Scott so much. I mean, I don't. He used to be a real down to earth guy, man. But I don't know. He let his right wing politics. he's really having a. He's going hard on us, man.
I'm not a leftist. I'm not a leftist.
No worries. No worries. No worries. No worries.
I'm not a conservative either, but I believe me. I just. Look, I guess you know what I'm saying. How do I say it? It's hard for me to find.
Worries, man.
It's hard for me to find. Again, it's not just him. And again, I'm not listening to it just for him because I mean, it's just I listen to people. It's hard for me to listen to. It's hard for me to listen to a place of sensible content of around the world. Unless I'm gonna like actually go and like read the news, I could do that. I used to do that. And I don't know. I don't want to explain myself. I think that I know what you guys are see with FBA. I just see it as being like it's not going to be used for its intended purposes. I'll tell you that because I think Black people know better than that. And since we evolved, I'm telling you, all the flaws will be resolved. That's all I'm going to say. Black people are not going to start attacking immigrant people. A lot of that's hyperbole. I'm going to tell you that right now.
I can show you a video where a guy was harassing I forgot what Caribbean island he was from, but it was in a subway station and he was harassing him.
Yeah, tell RBG tell Phil to go easy on us. Tell this man, because he's go hard on us, man. But needless to say, shout out to all the good brothers on the panel. You all did an excellent job tonight in making great contributions, man. But I'll leave it there. Shout out to all y'all. Be safe for this week, eh?
Yes, sir. You be safe as well. Shout out to you and all of you guys. Kofi, Real Black Gentleman. I guess Black still went to sleep early on us. But shout out to all of you guys for joining us tonight on the panel. Shout out to you guys in the chat for your conversations. I really appreciated that. Again, join the Discord, man. We could do with more diversity of thought. I'm sure you guys are in different parts of social media, seeing different conversations. Post them on Shoot the Breeze so that we can have those conversations as well. All right, guys, man. You guys be good. We'll see y'all next week. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Bitter Medicine Podcast with your host, Koku. If you like what you just heard, we hope you pass along our web address, bittermedicineblogs.com, to your friends and colleagues, and share our show to all your social media. Be sure to check out our archive section on our website for previous podcasts. This has been a KWAZ radio production. Join us next time for another session of the Bitter Medicine Podcast. Follow us on Facebook at Bitter Medicine Show, Twitter, Bitter Meds, Tumblr, Bitter Meds, Instagram, Bitter Medicine.